Twins drop game 3 to Tampa 9-4. That's your final. We're breaking it all down next on the Locked On Twins postcast.
You are Locked On Twins postcast, part of Locked On Minnesota on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up? What's up? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast episode right here on the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. You got myself, Luke Inman, at Luke_Spinman. That's the man, Theo Tollefson, at Theodore Tollef1, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage MN. And Theo, before we jump into all the action from tonight, quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB. Use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Okay, game 3 versus Tampa tonight. But before we get too far into that, Theo, you're in St. Paul. You got some Byron Buxton update for us. What happened tonight with Byron Buxton?
I mean, it's not good news. It's not bad news. So it's somewhere in the middle. So the good news is he's not hurt. The bad news is he was supposed to play all 9 innings here on his second rehab game before rejoining the team in Kansas City on Friday. He didn't because he, during his second at-bat, tried to ask for a timeout on a 1-1 count. Wasn't granted by the home plate umpire, so he was given a strike for a pitch clock violation. Ended up striking out, swinging the bat, and then he tried to argue with the umpire after the inning was completed. Umpire wouldn't have it. He got ejected from the game and only made it through 3 innings with what was supposed to be a full game from him. So, turbulation, going to try to get the quotes from Toby Gardenhire, if no one else, after the game. So we're going to be quick on this one so we can get the full understanding of what happened because there's no one else to report it here.
Yep, absolutely. Any other injury updates? Just now that we're on the topic of Byron.
The story I was hoping to really make the focus of tonight's game, Brent Hedrick, who's been out since April 7th, if you remember him from last year, came up through some games out of the bullpen. Well, he made his first start since then, through 3 scoreless innings, allowed just 1 walk, a couple hits, struck out 4, looked real solid on, for a guy who hasn't pitched 5 months. He did pitch 1 rehab game, but no starts in 5 months. So it was good improvements. It's looking like he's going to be the first lefty to rejoin Thielbar in the bullpen, which they're going to need down here in the stretch. I don't know how soon that is, but it's going to be much sooner than Cody Funderburk.
Got it. Okay, good to know. Good update there. Back to game 3 in Tampa. Platoon game on the mound, right? Henriquez starts it out, 1 inning, no runs. Second inning, it's Louis Varland. That's when the wheels fall off. 5 hits, 8 earned runs. Bam! Just like that. 8-0 Raids in the second inning. Twins kind of chipped away. Farmer, Santana, both with a couple home runs, but obviously not enough. Another kind of frustrating, deflating loss for the Twins. Just give us your biggest takeaways, maybe your A topics from that one. Then we'll talk about that pitching platoon a little bit more next.
It was the bad defense in the 4th inning where everything just fell apart. The Rays saw it. They exploited that weakness to their advantage. Their running game was just superior to how the Twins were responding to them defensively, and that's what really cost them this game, and things got away from them on that. So, I mean, obviously some of this was, Varland leaving a bad pitch up for Yandy Diaz to hit a 2-run home run, but, I mean, that was just, the nail in the coffin that really just solidified this loss for the Twins compared to what this defense did poorly. And there was so much. It's just so hard to go over all of it and not get hit. Because the team lost defensively.
100%. Good breakdown there. Michael Hellman, a name we haven't seen before last night, filling in for Kepler. Margot in right field last night. Gets his first major league hit last night. Gets another one tonight, pinch hitting. Not like a household name for a lot of us listening at home or like a big name prospect. So just give us the kind of quick scouting report or the things we should know about Michael Hellman.
Michael Hellman is a great player, just 28 years old, finally getting his major league debut. I think he definitely would have debuted much sooner. It is 2022, this time 2 years ago, if it weren't for a few injuries. He's been dealing with a lot with his left hamstring over the last few years. He dislocated his shoulder last season and kept him out for the majority of it, which could have cost him a call-up, but he's finally getting his chance. He's this mold of guys that they've had here in the minor leagues that can really just play anywhere, infield, outfield-wise, and obviously we saw that in his debut last night in right field, and again here tonight. So I think it's just a great story to finally get someone like him up in the major leagues after going through so much injury-wise that has really prevented him from getting there sooner. And, he's got 3 games really here now to prove it. He got 2 in could have played Monday night. Wasn't the case, but I think we'll definitely see him at some point used during the getaway game tomorrow, and at least has 3 games under the belt, depending on, I mean, Buxton's still probably going to rejoin the team in Kansas City, honestly. I just don't know, and I don't think there's any confirmation or speculation yet on if he's going to stay another day after getting ejected.
Right.
I will try to get an answer, and if I don't, that's what I get.
Yep. Nope. Love it. Rocco report time. Game 3 versus Tampa. The Rocco report. It says what?
Don't use an opener just to play Tampa at their own game.
It's just that simple sometimes, is it? It really is, isn't it? Like, what's the deal with the platoon? If you're a head coach, like, is it just hope for the best, but no, in the back of your mind, like, okay, the wheels are probably going to fall off here and go south pretty quick at any point? Because I feel like every platoon game we've seen from the Twins has not ended well at all once this time. Like the Rays had the platoon going. It worked fine.
Yeah. Well, they are kind of the unofficial authors of the bullpen game in modern baseball. But I mean, I'm watching a platoon game here tonight in St. Paul. Brent Hedrick only went 3 innings. He had a 50 pitch count limit, and then Dobnak came in and he's thrown 5 solid innings, only gave up 1 home run as his one mistake, and they're up 2-1. So like it can work, but other times it doesn't. This is one of those cases where obviously you got a guy coming back from a 5-month injury. You want to see how he's doing, how his forearm's feeling, but don't put too much pressure on him, especially when you got a guy like Dobnak who can come out and relieve 5 innings. But then you look at the opposite end here. I think Varland should have just started. You probably could have used Henriquez, to come in after he had that blow up in those 8 runs getting up against him. So, yeah.
All right. Plenty more deep dive from this one. Plus, we got that nerdy stat of the day. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, this episode brought to us by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience, the formula for winning championships. Also what keeps your ride or die alive. And eBay Motors, they got everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to the ultimate peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights. They got it all. And whether you're into speed, power, or style, they got you covered. 122 million parts for your number one ride or die. You'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, your part guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back with all the parts you need at the prices you want. Easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay's Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. Hey, listen, I don't want to live in the past too much, but we actually didn't dive into this a ton last night in the postcast. Were you upset or as upset as the majority of people when Rocco decided not to have Brooks Lee bunt? 9th inning, 2 runners on, no out. I know it's easy to sit on our couch, just kind of critique every decision, obviously, even easier when it doesn't pan out, but that definitely felt like a great place to lay down a sacrifice bunt if you were ever going to do it.
I mean, he's never done it in his professional career, but I also understand the counter argument of why not start now? It could have.
Well, regardless, that doesn't mean that at some point, just because you haven't done it in the past, you can't adjust or adapt, right? Like if the analytics and numbers say it's a good idea, then eventually maybe you should say, all right, maybe I've been doing this a little bit wrong in the past, let's just say, and maybe now's a good time to maybe right some of those wrongs. But you're right. Anybody who expected him to do that doesn't know his resume or his history, because there's no chance he was ever going to do that. That's just not his style. I know I asked you this a month or so ago, but where are you on like the Rocco scale? Because I feel like he takes a lot of heat sometimes, but then I also feel like the overarching theme or the overarching vibe around him is he's a pretty solid coach. He knows what he's doing. I mean, the players love him. We know that. Where's he at on like your, MLB coaching big board, if you will?
Oh, no, I've told you this before, and it still remains the same. He's a top 10 manager in the game right now. And, if all these things were happening with a worse record, then yeah, he would be much more of a hot seat. But they're still doing, 11 games above 500 even after this loss, which isn't great. But, I mean, it's still a testament to be in this, division race, this wild card race, with everything that's gone against them here. And still to maintain contention, that's a huge testament to his managerial mind and how he's been able to make things work. But I think, again, the defense was the loss tonight. That's on the players out in the field, not on him. Obviously, the bunt decision was definitely something that could have been something he overruled to make Brooksley to go do it. Well, not make him, but tell him to go do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that wasn't the case. So
it's one of those things where, as Minnesota sports fans, we're just hardwired to just critique and overanalyze every sport and every decision of all our teams. But I got to tell you, if I'm being totally honest, there's been so many times I've sat here and thought to myself, how are we 11, 12, 15 games, even at times above 500 with how many big name injuries we've had? It's just absolutely insane.
I know.
Nerdy stat of the daytime. You got some sort of crazy stat or fun analytic, Twins related?
Well, I am not even going to have one from the Twins game because this one comes courtesy of Geo Park with what I have been watching here today. That was the first career ejection for Buxton ever. And hey, Randy Dobnik's back out here to start up the top of the ninth for the Saints. Good for him. We'll see what it goes. He's had a couple bad starts last time out, so I'm glad to see he's back out here to try to close this out. Anyway, yeah, first career ejection ever for Buxton, which is very telling of this incident and, why we're making this one short.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. We got to preview this last game versus Tampa. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, tonight's episode brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the easiest, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats, and you watch the winnings roll in. Baseball season, obviously, in full swing. So whether it's strikeouts, it could be RBIs, it could be home runs, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code, all lowercase, Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, game 4 tomorrow. Pablo on the mound, coming off that monster start last Friday night. Absolute chef's kiss. What's the scouting report? Biggest storylines? How well does he match up with this lineup specifically? Obviously Twins trying to get this split here in game 4. What's this game look like?
You need Pablo for the split tomorrow, and he's been on a roll of late. You got to hope he continues that. But this Tampa lineup, as we know, if they can get on base once, they can be pesky base runners and play the running game real well with no matter who's at the plate. So that's what you got to look out for here. And I think Pablo's been dominating so well of late. He can definitely, get the strikeout game going, limit the walks so that fewer mistakes are made, and hopefully the Twins bats can come alive and not late enough in the game where it gets to be too late like tonight where, they showed up, they got 4 runs, but it was already an 8-4 game at that point. So not much you can do there.
Yeah, and then after that one, Twins get KC Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Massive, massive, massive series for both teams. KC losers of 7 straight heading into tonight. What's going on with KC? How can the Twins capitalize on them and this downward spiral they're in?
Well, first off, we should just say the Royals are up 4-1 over Cleveland right now in the top of the 8th at home. So after tonight, with Twins being behind 4.5, Cleveland being behind 5.5 coming to tonight's games, kind of want Kansas City to win at least this one with the off day tomorrow, and then you can use the game you play tomorrow against Tampa to the advantage. So that's what I'm looking for right now. So I know it's not ideal when these two teams are playing each other because one of you or the other is going to gain something in the standings and you're not. So I think you got to look forward to that. Kansas City is going to have the extra off day, but the rotation comes back around. I know Bailey Ober is going to have a redemption start here as they make his second start in Kansas City, considering the last one was one to forget. So hopefully everything can work out there, and these young pitchers can really do well against the Royals' young hitters who have been making things work for them so well this season.
All right, we got to get out of here. You got to go talk to Byron Bucks, or at least get the latest. Twins lose game 3.
I don't know if Buxton's still here, but I'll get the latest.
Well, you'll get the latest, though. Pablo Day on the mound tomorrow. First pitch. It's an early one, 12:10 p.m. Huge shout out to all the everydayers out there. Always make us your first listen. Rest assured, we're going to be back each and every game right here, breaking it all down. Go check out all Theo's work on X at Theodore Tollefson, plus all the work he's always ripping up over at ZoneCoverageMN.com. Theo Tollefson, Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. We'll see you next time. But until then, signing out.